Hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode of the Financial Conflict Coach Show. I'm Dave Hilton, the Financial Conflict Coach. Now, on this episode of the Financial Conflict Coach Show, I want to talk about fairness, because when you're talking about financial conflict, or any kind of conflict for that matter, most people, they will not agree on what is fair. They can agree with what is satisfactory, but it still won't be in their minds what they consider to be fair. So I want to share three different theories of fairness. I'm going to start talking about the legal theory of fairness. Now, this is set based on legal precedent, whether it's common law, criminal law, civil law, other cases, whether you're talking about just generally speaking statutes that you read. What people consider to be fair when they go to the law means that the other discussions, the other negotiations they may have had prior to this particular time of them maybe filing a lawsuit or filing charges would be because what they received or what they were offered is considered to be unfair. So they base that. Now, the thing about these theories of fairness that I'm going to share with you today is that they all have influence on each other. Now, the second one I want to talk about is equity-based fairness. This is based on the time that you actually give to a project or a business or whatever you're talking about. This is based on the equity, perhaps the skills that you bring to the table if you're talking about a business. Maybe you are an excellent programmer and your code skills are just unbelievable. So all of this time and all of this effort that you've put into building the code, writing the code for, let's say, an app, and it made $1 million, now you don't think that what you've been offered, even as a bonus, is fair. So you don't think it's fair, so you're going to try to do something. And that's how I say that they influence one another, because if you don't think based on your equity that you're getting something that's fair, you'll turn to another one, maybe the legal precedent, based on the legal theory of fairness. Now, not just skills. It can also be how much time you've put into it. You've heard a lot of, on occasions, people saying that, well, I've invested so much time in this project, or I've invested so much time in this marriage that I deserve. It's only fair that I get something. So a lot of time, equity-based theory of fairness has a lot to do with what people think is fair. It can be time. It can be sacrifice. If you maybe sacrificed your professional life. I see that a lot also in mediations of divorce cases, where they've sacrificed their professional life to raise the kids, and now somebody's asked for a divorce, and so they don't think it's only fair that they get a percentage of money, or they get a percentage of whatever the marriage assets would be, because of the amount of sacrifice that they did. Now, in business cases, it can also be based on seniority. Let's say that a company is sold and the new company is coming in and giving bonuses based on seniority. In a lot of cases, and in a lot of cultures, a lot of workplace cultures, the amount of bonus is more for the people who've been there longer. So seniority is what's based as fair in that particular situation. Difficulty, creativity are another couple options that you can add there to the equity-based theory of fairness. Now, the third one I want to talk about today is cultural bias. Now, again, these all influence one another. So your culture or your subculture can have a heavy influence on what the legal precedent or the legal theory of fairness in your particular area could be. It could be divided based on need. You know, children need more than adults do, and in a lot of cases, that's what you see. It can also be based on need, based on your financial situation. You know, the poor need it more than the rich people do. So that's based on fairness. That is the cultural bias theory of fairness. It can also be divided based on equity, which we've already discussed. It could be divided based on gender, your age, your status in whatever society it is. Religion has a lot to do with the cultural bias theory of fairness. Collective or individualistic cultures, there's huge differences there, because as a collective culture, you would divide based to everyone, because everybody is a group that it would be fair. Whereas an individualistic, you might want a bigger piece of the pie because you think you've been involved in a project or whatever a lot longer than anyone else. So all of these things influence each other. All these theories influence each other. So it's very, very important to understand what your particular bias is, what you think is fair, so that whenever you're sitting down at the table, at the negotiation table, and you're dealing with someone else and you hear them say something, you can say, hey, you know what? They're basing what they consider to be fair based on the legal precedent, or they're basing it based on the equity-based fairness, or perhaps the cultural bias. So you'll be able to identify what it is, and then you can adapt whatever style or technique or strategy you're using at the negotiation negotiation table to find some sort of mutually satisfactory agreement. And so that's the theories of fairness. Those are the theories of fairness I'd like to talk about today in today's episode. So my question for you today, and I'd love to hear your stories down below in the comments, what is your particular level of fairness? I mean, what do you think is fair? And go through each one of those things, all three of them. What do you think, and come up with a situation. What do you think is fair based on the law? What do you think is fair based on the equity? What do you think is fair based on cultural biases? And pick different situations, or you know what, you could pick the same situation and share those comments down below. If you have any questions, feel free to email me, coach@financialconflictcoach.com. You can also find me on Twitter @moneyconflicts. Thanks for watching.